Good morning. Today is Friday, February 11th of 2022. It is partially cloudy outside. I am on a south of Lexington, between Lexington and Nicholasville. It is 45 degrees outside. It should be a good day. I'm hoping. So, question of the topic. So let's open GrubHub. Oops. I know I've seen quite a few videos, discussions. Maybe they mentioned it and I do apologize. But it says understanding account violations. Then in smaller text it says we're updating our fraud prevention. Not violation account policy, fraud prevention process. Let's open and actually go more in detail. Can I open that? So you guys see here on the top, we have the fraud prevention process to help you understand what violations are and how they work. So what I actually want to say here, and I'm not going to go because you guys heard all those, and like they said, none of them make sense. And the reason why they're not making sense, because you're not the guy that will be most likely doing the fraud. But then those people that actually are fraudsters, they clearly understand every single one of those, what those mean, because they're doing it. So I guess GrubHub lately been having a lot of issues with their new drivers where they're taking advantage of the system and they're committing fraud on the platform. By, let's say, an example, texting a customer, it's going to take another 2 hours with your food. Would you like me to proceed with your order? Would you like to cancel? Remember, restaurants or customers canceling? Boom. I believe with cancellations, we get something, $3 or something like that. So if the guy does this to 20 customers in a row, you made $30. Now, he might text the same thing to the restaurant, call up to the restaurant and say, hey, by the way, customer wants to change an order and comes up with a order that the restaurant says, you know what, we're just not going to do it. Or calls the restaurant and says, you know what, customer just want to cancel this order. Can it be done? Yes, it can. So those people that actually were taking advantage of the system, couldn't they have? Yes, they could. Let me see if I can, because I'm not seeing chats if you guys are in a chat or something. But there's nobody here, so. So here are some of the situations that I'm just giving an example that, yes, those rules do not make sense to the good and honest drivers out there, like you and I. But there's a saying, I believe, here in this country, one rotten apple destroys the whole bunch. I guess 1, 2, or 3, or 4 fraudsters out there make it bad for all of us. So that's why they come up with these. Let me actually go and see if we can read more. I don't remember. I know there should be, or maybe we'll open it. Let's see. Honest, unassigning order, accepting and understanding surroundings, or you see complete a delivery result in a delay or cancellation. Now, here's something I want to actually mention on this particular one. Um, GrubHub, DoorDash. I'm not sure about Uber Eats, but these two particular ones I have a problem with, especially on DoorDash. If I grab an order and I see an issue and I cannot complete it on time, let's say I have another stack with a, I stacked it with another app and it's delaying me, or restaurants taking too much of time, or whatever the issue, and I had to go away from the restaurant and come back, I will cancel the order, not to get violation for having the food delivered late. 90% of my orders on DoorDash are being canceled for that particular reason. Is because I do not want to get a violation for being late, so I just cancel it. Now, when I cancel it, I know I'm right now guaranteed it to be even more late than I was, because most likely DoorDash will send another driver, and then the driver has to get to the restaurant, deliver it, where I was already most likely at the restaurant. So I delayed even more. But it's not my fault if they messed up with their policy. So, unassigning orders. One thing that DoorDash and GrubHub and Uber and everybody else needs to understand: we are contractors. That means, first, one of the rules of IRS is we should have an option to work more than for one outfit, than for more than one contract. That means we are working for more than one. We work for GrubHub, Uber, DoorDash, and a bunch of other apps we can work for. That means we are delivery drivers. We guarantee a delivery. Delivery on a timely matter. That doesn't mean on a tight schedule. So if it says 6 minutes from restaurant to the customer, without traffic, we need to complete it in 6 minutes. No, not that timely matter. I'm talking timely matter. If we properly package it, properly store it in our hot bags and catering bags, pizza bags, that means that food has, let's say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of shelf life to stay warm. That means in timely matter. I just delivered that food on timely matter within 30 minutes. I had more than one orders, and the order got delivered on timely matter. So, I don't agree with an issue of they saying, where is it? Unassigned orders result in a delay or cancellation experience for a restaurant and diner. I don't agree. I agree on unassigning orders if they're taking too long, and it's not my fault. I don't agree on assigning orders and getting penalized for it because they did not fit my busy schedule. What I mean by busy schedule? Like yesterday, I believe yesterday, I pull up to Applebee's and the guy says it's going to take another 25 minutes. I know he's bullshitting. But I guess he is new, and I'm like, hey, I pull out a dollar and say, hey, can you go into the kitchen and come out and tell me what is the true time? And I give you $1 for that. He comes out, he's like, I don't even have to go, I just came out. It's going to be 25 minutes. So I kind of, got pissed. I'm like, I'm not taking it. I'm going to unassign it. So as I go through the unassign process, I'm going to, change my mind. I'm like, you know what? I still have a DoorDash. I still have Uber. So if DoorDash or Uber gives me a better delivery, I'll just unassign it. But if not, I'll wait it out. Guess what? 6 minutes later, he brings the food out. Not 20, 25. 6 minutes later, I still give him the buck. I did want to actually go back and talk to him, but then the order after order came in, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it. So yeah, it our busy schedule. That means we need to move. We don't get paid for standing. We only get paid when we're moving. That's why if an order makes us wait, DoorDash, GrubHub, Uber, whoever out there are you, we're not getting paid. You want us to wait? Figure out a way how to pay us. Otherwise, we're moving. Of course, now I did think about this. If an order pays me $10, I'll wait for 5 minutes. If an order pays me $20, I'll wait for 10 minutes. Because now I get a nice compensation that I can take away from my moving time towards waiting time. But there is no point waiting on a $5 order. On a $5 order, there is zero time wait time. If your target is $20 an hour, that on a $5 order, that means they're paying you for 15 minutes. That means in 15 minutes, you have to get back to where you started. Deliver it, pick it up, deliver it, and get back. If you're not able to accomplish that in 15 minutes, that order is not worth it. And if they want to wait, make you wait 5 minutes, that means you only have 10 minutes left to do that round trip. If they want to have you wait 10 minutes, that means you have 5 minutes left on that round trip. It's almost impossible with most orders to make it in 5 minutes. You know, time crawls slow when you're waiting, but when you're behind the wheel, it just flies. Excessive cancellation. I already explained that. Where the driver can try to convince a restaurant to cancel the order. Let's say, like I already said, that customer wants to cancel this order, and they do not know how to do it, or he texts a customer and says, "Hey," or calls the customer and say, "This order is going to take another hour and a half," and no, and maybe you want to order from somewhere else. I had a situation with our Applebee's here in Nicholasville. Their tablet did not work. That means when we arrive, we let them know what customer order. Then they ask us to let the customer to know that it's going to be an extra 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. So in my situation, she said, "Hey, can you text the customer that it's going to be 10 minutes?" I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna, take my executive order, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, start on the order." But then as I, went outside, I'm gonna let the customer know it's gonna be an extra 5 minutes on an order. So I text the customer that there's a delay for 5 minutes due to food not being ready. Guess what? A minute later, I get a cancel. I see on my screen order was canceled. I go into the restaurant and say, "Hey, can you guys cancel this order? Because customer just canceled." Guess what? That same customer ordered from somewhere else, and I still got that customer's delivery. It paid a little bit less. You guys might remember that offer that I had for $30 turned into 20. Then the customer canceled. Then I got it back from Burger King for $23. Yeah, that's the order I'm talking about. And I think last Friday or something. So I had that situation. So that's why when I'm saying, and it was not my purpose for the customer to cancel. If restaurant would have not asked me to text the customer, I probably would have never even do it. But the restaurant said, text. I said, let's start on an order. And then I went outside, and I restaurant is right. I should maybe let the customer know that it's going to be 5 minutes longer. And boom, that 5 minutes longer, cancel the order. So that's where I'm kind of getting an idea where, drivers can manipulate a customer by saying certain things to the customer, manipulate a restaurant by saying certain things to the restaurant, which will in result into canceled orders. And that's where GrubHub says if you're doing that on a purpose of fraud to collect the $3 cancellation fee, becomes excessive, yeah, we'll address that issue. Frequent missed deliveries. The diner sees that their order has been delivered, but they cannot find their food. Now, frequent missed deliveries, this is how I can explain. You never deliver the food, or you deliver the food to the wrong location. Now, I believe somebody that is horrible with navigation and delivers food to the wrong place, they should not be on a platform. That's number one. That means if you're getting flagged too many times, that customer never found the food, you messed up. You need to learn to use the navigation or just not use it at all. And don't work. Now, stealing food. Very common on Uber, on the DoorDash, I guess, in some markets. No, you should not be doing that. If you're stealing food, go to food bank. Don't ruin it for the rest of us. Next one. Slow ATA. A significant number of deliveries were excessively late compared to our estimate. Now, this is directly talking to not to top dashers, to multi-appers, to you and I that app on multiple apps. We commonly have multiple orders at all time in our car, or we should be having multiple orders at all time in our car. Otherwise, you're not doing this right. And sometimes, yes, market just not friendly to us to give us those orders. Oh, that's charging. Okay. Nothing's coming in. So, but of course, right now markets are unstable. Too many competitions, too many drivers out there. We're not getting enough of orders. But this is directly, and I noticed DoorDash having problem with the multi-appers. Uber has problem with multi-appers, but I noticed also with something very interesting with Uber. When you get an order with DoorDash at a certain direction, Uber, not always, but it's very common, they'll give you an order almost exactly the same direction as well. As if they're capable to see DoorDash app on your phone, what order you accepted it, and they'll try hard to get an order for you that direction as well. So even though at one point they hate multi-appers, but at the same time, they also favor us by stacking us the same direction. So slow ETA, a significant number of orders. That means if we are always and constantly multi-apping, and we're stacking on multi apps in our orders, and we have them in the car, almost always we will be a little late on the ETA. And that's where GrubHub says, you know what? If you don't like it, we're going to penalize you for that. And this is the one that I would actually challenge GrubHub with an attorney, because we are self-contract and we have rights to multi-app. We have rights to stack orders on multiple apps. We have rights to have multiple orders in our car as long as they are properly stored in our car. Diner adjustments. A high number of orders adjustments have been requested by diner. This one right here, the only one that I can think of where this is happening is, let's say somebody placed an order. And I'm gonna just say example, McDonald's Big Mac. So they ordered a Big Mac meal for the delivery, and then you get a text message, which then you relay that to the restaurant saying, "Hey, diner also added a second drink to that. No problem." But then let's say that second drink you never delivered to the diner. You actually ordered on behalf of the diner for yourself. Would that be considered as a fraud? On the front side, that is the only thing I would consider, is where drivers would add additional items to the order for himself. And hey, restaurants are somewhat lenient. Because, like, you know what? Hey, a second drink, sure, we'll add a second drink. They'll charge it, the GrubHub, but the GrubHub, not sure if they're charging the customer or not. So that might be the issue. They might not be charging the customer, but they are getting, the charge from the restaurant. Overcharge, place, and pay order. A significant number of places, a place and pay orders exceed the anticipated spending amount. And I'm assuming exactly the same thing. Where some drivers were having, maybe some kind of a deals with restaurants, or like, or place. Let's say a manager drives for GrubHub of, let's say, McDonald's, and at the same time, not McDonald's, a little bit more smaller, and also runs, that restaurant. So what he would do, he would actually place an order on his system with inflated price, and then pocket the difference between the menu price and inflated price, and that would hurt GrubHub, because they charge customer one price, but they got a different price. So this would be a possibility based on how I see they're trying to prevent. So just when you're at the restaurant and you're doing this overcharge your place and pay orders, just make sure. For some reason itches. Just make sure that the prices that you see on your receipt or on the screen is the same prices that is actually on the board. That means if, let's say, there's 3 GrubHub drivers in the area, and all 3 GrubHub drivers are getting charged the same thing for that restaurant, I don't think GrubHub will have an issue with you. But if you walk in and they're charging you, I had a situation, personal situation, not rideshare related. I would go into a certain chicken place at a certain town for lunch, around 3-4 o'clock between the rush and dinner, while I dashed, and I would order a breast, and they would charge, breast meal, and they would charge me $13. I walked in once, I walked in second time, they did the same thing. I walked in the third time, they did $8. Then I walked in the fourth time, they did again $13. On the fourth time when I was there, the owner of the franchise was there. So I'm like, can I speak with the owner? And they're like, they brought him out, and I'm like, hey, I have an issue. On the menu, you guys have a one price. You guys are charging me different prices here. And he looks at the menu, he looks at the computer, he says, let me figure this thing out. So I screenshot it, and I texted him screenshot of charges of 3 times $13, plus I showed him that last order receipt and that 8 something that they charged me. And next day he called me up and says, hey, we do apologize. What you order, you're ordering a spicy, and what we have on the menu is a regular. So for spicy meal, that's an extra, and that's why you're paying $13. And I'm like, but why? But again, for $13 on your guys' menu, I'm supposed to get 3 sides, not on 1 side. Why every single time I get in 1 side? And he says, I do apologize. I guess people are not aware that on spicy you get 3 sides, and that's the reason why of a big difference. So he credited me for that 3 orders and brought the price down to 8. So this might be the situation where you want to watch the prices, what you're being charged, making sure that it is right based on menu, because lack of understanding. This was happening where just the town was just reopening, and they were bringing in right and left people that had no clue and what they were doing at the restaurant. So that's what would lead to that situation. So that might be during these reopenings, price increase quick. GrubHub not realizing prices increasing, they start losing money, and that's where overcharge situation came. So just make sure that you're being that they're charging a GrubHub card correctly, properly, and not taking any, and nothing weird is going on behind the scenes. So that's about it. So what I would like to say is, be wise, be smart, and remember, this policy has been adjusted because of few rotten apples in the bunch, and we all right now have to deal with it. It's not because they want to tighten us down, but because some people were taking advantage of this platform, which we heard a lot on DoorDash. I guess we have not heard a lot on GrubHub, but GrubHub's trying to tighten it all down. And give me a minute. So that's it. So be wise and don't be too panic. If you're not committing fraudulent, if you're not doing fraudulent things, so about 80% of this policy will not affect you. It will only affect those that are trying to commit fraudulent activities. And yes, us as multi-appers, where we constantly stack orders on multiple platforms, that slow ETA is the only thing that I personally believe will impact us. Those drivers that drive just on a GrubHub or one platform, or even if they're multi-app, but they shut all the other apps off, and then during the GrubHub busy period and run only on GrubHub, there's nothing for you to worry about. That's the way I see it. The only ones are the ones with the multi-apping, are that I see of danger of those rules. Be blessed, be successful. Talk to you later.